Welcome to Real. My name's Trip Forman, and today we're going to talk about these exotic kite surf boards and also the construction that goes into them and how they are specifically built for strapless kite surfing. A lot of people have seen the evolution of kite surfing and specifically strapless kite surfing and the high end of the sport in that direction happen like over the last year to 18 months. And what's following with that, the demand that those riders have on their equipment and the request to the shapers is very different from what a lot of other people want. And so what you're seeing now is new constructions and designs come out that are specifically for strapless riding. If you're watching the videos out there, you're following like, hey, who are the best riders in the world? Like, without a doubt, no matter who you ask, like the two names that you're always going to hear are Ian Aldridge and Patrick Rebstock. Both of those guys are riding boards that are specifically designed for strapless kite surfing, and they're also surfing them when there's no wind. So if we're looking at these two boards right here, on my left here, we've got the Rosson EVF boom box, and then on the right, we've got a Roberts IL, which is made in Hydroflex XXX supercharger construction. Going back to Ian and Patrick, both those guys are riding strapless all the time. Right now, all of Ian's boards are made in this construction here, and right now, all of Patrick's boards are being made in the XXX supercharger construction. So when you see their boards, that's basically what they're riding right now. What are the benefits of this type of constructions is that you're able to build a board that kite surfs on a wave and feels like a surfboard that's not reinforced to be so heavy and so stiff that it's not reactive when it's on the wave. So you're going to be able to load up the board in your bottom turn, come springing out of it, load up your top turn, come out of it, and have a board that's reactive like a standard surfboard rather than being overbuilt and stiff. In talking about the different types of construction, talking about first the XXX supercharger construction, these boards are also made for standard surfing. In standard surfing, they would have 2 layers of 4-ounce on the deck, 1 layer of 4-ounce cloth on the bottom, and then vacuum bagged. For the XXX construction, it has 2 layers of 6-ounce cloth on the deck and 1 layer of 6-ounce cloth on the bottom. So a much heavier and much more reinforced glass schedule. You can also see that it has a unidirectional band down the center of the board and then also under where your heels are going to go on the board. The supercharger is unique in the industry. It does have basically a bead foam core and then wrapped with different high-tech materials and then vacuum bagged with the 3D rooted German engineered fiberglass that Hydroflex produces. They're all made in the USA. Where this board is truly unique is the ability to change the flex. In all of the supercharger boards, you're going to see a vent plug right here. And each board comes with a real small pump. And so you're able to pump the board up, and basically the more pressure that you put inside the board, the stiffer the board becomes. Why would somebody want to do that? In absolutely glass water, you could ride a much stiffer board and get more performance out of a stiff board. But as the conditions become really choppy and out of control, softening up the flex is going to absorb the vibration and make the board easier to control. Another reason to change the flex, heavier riders tend to prefer a stiffer board where lighter riders can't load the board up as much and they're going to want to have a softer board. So this board can change the flex through increasing or decreasing the air pressure in the board. The other place where this comes in handy is after you've been using this board for a long time and you've got like your primary dents, like where your front foot and your back foot go, and then you also have just dents from switching your feet or landing strapless airs or crashes like where your elbows or your knees hit the board. All of those dents can be removed from the board by pumping up the board to max air pressure and then leaving it overnight, and then the pressure inside the board will push all of those dents back out. So that's a good overview of the XXX supercharger construction by Hydroflex. And this model that I'm holding right here, this is the Roberts IL and in the XXX construction. And it's just a standard surfboard in that beefed up construction. Great for kite surfing and then also great for surfing. The next board we're going to talk about is the Rosson EVF with an iFoam blank. And iFoam, or other people call it INT foam, is a new foam. It's a waterproof foam, so even if you ding the board, it won't absorb water. Very high density. It's 2.5 pound density, so it's one of the most high density blanks out there. It doesn't absorb water, and it's a very smooth, silky ride on the water. It absorbs vibrations really well. and just very smooth on the water as far as absorbing all of the chop, all the vibration, and just channeling all of the energy that you have into your kite surfing into forward momentum down the line rather than bouncing around all over the place. And when you're strapless riding, that's a big plus, because if you don't have straps to hold you on the board, anything that's going to absorb vibration is key. The iFoam is then laminated with epoxy resin and fiberglass, and then all vacuum bagged down to suck the fiberglass down onto the blank to get a good bond, but then also to suck the excess resin out so that it's not overweight. These boards then have an external painted finish. It's called a Nano Pebble Pro Finish. This is the same type of finish that they're doing on racing sailboats or different things that are in the water. What it does is it basically adheres a layer of water to the board, and then you have water sliding across water rather than water sliding on gloss. Ends up being much faster across the water, and then also when you're turning it and sliding it through turns, there's much less friction on the board. It's definitely noticeable when you use it. So this board as well has been designed specifically for strapless kite surfing. It's much lighter compared to a strapped board, and also much more reactive on the wave, where you're able to load up the board and unload it. So if you're strapless riding now and you're riding your strapped board with just the straps off it, you are going to notice that this construction is much more reactive and feels more lively when you're riding the board. And where you'll really notice the difference is when you go back to your old board. And that's really where I noticed it. I liked it a little bit more for strapless riding when I went to it, but then when I went back to my old boards felt significantly stiffer and less alive than this type of construction. So basically, you like it a little bit, then when you go back, you like it a lot, and then when you go back to it, you're like, that's all I'll ride for strapless. It's that much of a difference. The iFoam is strong, very, very strong, dent resistant. You still will get like your primary heel dents in this board, which is okay. That's just going to give you more control when you're out on the water. So again, this is the Rosson Boombox in EVF iFoam construction, and then the Roberts Ill in XXX Hydroflex supercharger construction. We got them both here at Reel.